Damon, this is what we're doing. We're having a contest here. We're deciding the Super Bowl, like who's going to win the Super Bowl.
We're doing
a snake draft. And Baller just went with Baltimore. So we'll do. He went with Baltimore, then he went with Miami. Let's let Damon in here since he is here. And we'll take you want to keep Baltimore or Miami, Baller? We'll let you do it either way.
I'll keep Baltimore.
Okay, you keep Baltimore. Damon, so far, Danny went with the Niners. Ryan went with the Chiefs. Kevin went with the Eagles. I went with the Bengals. Baller just went with the Ravens. And now you have 2 picks.
The snake draft.
I feel like if I'm getting 2 picks, I guess I got to come in here and either take what you said. The Ravens are off the board.
Niners, Chiefs, Eagles, Bengals, Ravens are gone, and everybody else is still.
I'll give you some names just so you can fresh.
No. Let me take Detroit and Buffalo.
That's good picks.
Let me take Detroit and Buffalo.
I like Buffalo.
There's a cliff that falls off after pick 10, definitely.
Yeah, look, I mean, I what I think is right now the NFC is a 4-team conversation. And it'll be interesting to see if one of those teams falls out or if another team is able to muscle one of those teams out. But I really think right now it's Eagles, Niners, Lions, and who's the other NFC team?
Cowboys.
And the Cowboys. Yeah, that's the 4-team conversation in the NFC. In the AFC is a conversation between the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Bills, and Dolphins are still going to be in this conversation somehow, some way. And I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars still have a path to a 1 seed, believe it or not. In the AFC today, they got their asses handed to them today. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. But I love a good draft. So thanks for having me. And thanks for giving me 2 picks right in a row. But yeah, I mean, I think we're starting to see the cream rise. And the nicest thing about the 49ers win today is they beat one of those creamy teams. I mean, the Jaguars are good. They weren't today, but
even though you find them creamy, you still went with Detroit and Buffalo, though.
Yeah, I'm taking Detroit and Buffalo before
Jacksonville.
But Jacksonville's going to be in the conversation.
We'll get back to that creaminess, but let's finish up here. Baller, you are
Miami.
You're going Miami. Look at that. You
Ramsey's
didn't even
back
lose
in the
either one of your
fold.
picks, despite the fact you didn't get the wraparound.
Yeah, I think Bruce left Miami for me. Thanks, Bruce.
No problem.
Okay, so what's left? I can either go with Cleveland, Danny's Cleveland, Jacksonville, Chargers, Houston, Dallas,
Minnesota,
Saints maybe, Seahawks.
It's tough.
It is tough. I'm gonna go. God, that is tough. I'll go with the Chargers. My at the beginning of the year I had Niners, Chargers.
I don't even think they make the playoffs.
I know they may not make the playoffs, but
they're getting beat pretty bad right now.
I'll go Chargers. I'll go Chargers.
Pass the alley-oop to Kevin.
Kev, what do you got?
I mean, so it's either Cowboys or Texans.
Oh, the Cowboys are gone.
Cowboys.
Oh wait, no,
Browns.
Cowboys are still.
Browns.
You know what? I'll go Browns. Fuck it. You know, defense.
Wow.
Defense wins championships. I'll go Browns.
Okay, I'll take the Cowboys 100%.
Dang it.
They choke.
So is it my pick?
Danny. It's your pick.
Who's
basically,
right.
Danny? The only teams that are even remotely would be Jacksonville.
Yep. I'm looking at it right now. I'm going to go
Texans,
Seattle,
or the NFC South winner.
Or if you believe in Aaron Rodgers coming back. Talking
Houston,
hot variants
how about
here.
Houston's out there. No.
You can go Houston.
I'm gonna go with the Jags. They got too much talent.
Okay.
Jags.
So just to sum this up, Danny's got the Niners in Jacksonville. Rye's got the Chiefs in Dallas. Kev's got the Eagles and Browns. I've got the Bengals and Chargers. Baller's got the Ravens and Dolphins. Damon's got the Lions and Buffalo. All right, and I'll throw it into the chat. If you were in the chat and you actually had a C note on one of these two teams, whose team do you want? You want me, Danny, Rye, Kev, Baller, or Damon? Whose picks do you want?
Who got Philly and who else? What was the other?
Kev got Philly and Cleveland.
That's pretty good.
Wild card.
I think Rye's got a pretty good chance too because he's got Chiefs.
And who else, Rye?
And
Cowboys?
Dallas. I mean, Dallas has a chance, absolutely.
But it is Dallas.
Baller's got a real shot with the Ravens. I don't know if I believe in Miami. Damon has a good shot, I think, with Buffalo maybe coming off the pace.
I
got the NFC's legit dark horse too.
Yeah, the Lions are good.
I think the Lions are pretty legit.
They're probably going to end up with the top seed.
Lions.
You know who I also think is pretty legit? Like the 49ers. And like, I love drafting with you guys, but are you guys already bored with that win?
No. We've been chopping it up. Okay, let me ask you one last question before we get back to this game today. If you did have $100 right now that you had to bet on a Super Bowl winner, who would you take? And let's say we all had the first pick. Let's go around the room real quick and say who you would bet that 100 on.
Are we taking the odds into account?
Yeah, you can take anything into account, really. But I mean, you obviously you want to win. So who do you think's going to win the Super Bowl? $100.
Eagles.
Damon's got Eagles.
I mean, it's easy, right? Isn't that an easy answer, right? I mean, Eagles and
That's
Chiefs,
the chalk pick,
not right? Eagles and Chiefs until it's not. I think that's a safe assumption, and I don't know if that week 13 game between the 49ers and Eagles is going to dictate who wins the postseason matchup between the two of them. Should we get one of those again? But I think that the chalk right now in both leagues is Chiefs and Eagles.
I'm gonna stick with the Niners just because they went through their down stretch. They're determined this year. I mean, it's Super Bowl or bust this year for the 49ers. That's their mentality. They're not just trying to get into the playoffs. So the fact that they came back and trounced the hottest team in the league today in their home, in their backyard, and did it convincingly, and now you have a defensive front that was being talked about. Like, where's the defensive line, and how many sacks they have today? 6? 5 or 6?
Let me see.
5 sacks, 4 takeaways for this 49er defense.
Yeah. 10 hits on the quarterback, though.
And
so you're going. So Damon's going Eagles. Danny's going Niners. Rye.
Ooh, begrudgingly Eagles, just because they've and also I think the real answer to this question will be decided this week. Who wins the KC Eagles game? I think that's next Monday night. KC's favorite by 2.5 points. But yeah, they can win in the most ways. Like the Niners, as much as I love the Niners and think they have as good a chance as pretty much anyone, they still haven't shown that that they're able to like win a game that just starts out funky, because shit goes against you in the playoffs. Like you never know what's going to happen. Bad penalties,
injuries.
Bad call here or there, injuries, turnovers, all of that kind of stuff can happen. And it's like, we've seen the Eagles come back. We see that the Niners, when they have control of the game and they can get up a touchdown, are awesome. But we have not yet seen the Niners playing from behind in obvious passing down opportunities succeed.
All right, so we have 2 Eagles, 1 Niners. Baller?
I'm rolling with the Niners. All year I've been saying I think this is the year. And while the last 3 weeks, some questions have kind of popped into my mind, this dominant performance has kind of solidified that thought that, man, this team, I think it's up there with the best teams in the league. And I think this is the year, fellas, the Niners get it done and bring home that Lombardi.
So 2 Niners, 2 Eagles. Kev?
If my life was on the line, I'd go Chiefs. I just there's so much trust there in the playoffs. I know that their team has looked way more mortal this year. They've made a lot of mistakes, but I mean, it's hard not to take the Chiefs when they've done it so well. 2
Niners, 2 Eagles. He's going Chiefs. I'm going Bengals. I believe in Burrow. Burrow beats Josh Allen. Burrow beats Mahomes. Burrow has Jamar Chase. Burrow's got really fast secondary and a really good defensive line. All right, back to the game today.
Mind if I just wrap up because it's an interesting discussion. And the reason why
it's wide open
is because it's wide open. And the team that is going to win the Super Bowl this year, I think, is among all the teams that we were just discussing. I don't think that there is a team that comes from out of the field of teams that we were just discussing that's going to be a Super Bowl champion this year. Who's the healthiest? It's just that simple. If this 49ers team, if this one today with a healthy Trent Williams, healthy Debo, a defense that plays like that, if that team shows up, I don't care whether you got home field advantage or not in a single game that you're going to play or how many playoff games you have. If what we saw today rolls into the postseason healthy, the Niners can 100% win it all. 100%. I mean, that's the thing, that there is no momentum between games. There's no momentum between halves in some of these games. Okay. I mean, like to say that it's the Niners year. Well, I certainly hope it is. That would be incredible. But they're one Brock Purdy injury away from it all going away. Just like one Jalen Hurts injury. There is 8 more games. There's still a lot of football here. Get to the postseason healthy with this team playing like this. And yeah, holy shit, you can win it all. That's who the Niners reminded us of today.
Okay. Let's do a reset for those who are joining us. We're an hour and 39 minutes into our live stream. Close to 700 people in the room. Appreciate every single one of you. We're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, best barbecue in Northern California, New York style Italian sausage, Marin Auto Glass, Underdog Fantasy, and Mojo Fantasy. Thanks to all of our sponsors for sponsoring the Krug Show. All right. And by the way, you know everybody here. Kev, of course, top screen there. That's my kid at Cal Poly. Rye, West Coast Smitty on X, West Coast Bias on YouTube, an OG on the Krug Show. Dan Cochimilio, also an OG on the Krug Show. NorCal Sports Network is his channel. Bay Area Baller 18, one of my favorite content creators there is. Check him out on YouTube, Bay Area Baller 18. Damon Bruce, the Plus is Damon's channel on YouTube. Damon and I go back to the mid-1990s. We've known each other forever.
49ers Wake Up. There's a great chance to promote that.
And by the way, 49er Wake Up tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. on both my channel and Damon's channel. We'll chop this whole thing up after watching the game again and digest all the angles. That's where I want to start. If somebody came to you and said, oh, man, I missed the Niner game. I missed it. Oh, and you could describe what happened today. Where are you starting? Where are you starting to the person that's like, baller, I missed the game today, man. Niners won. Awesome. Oh, I saw they blew them out. What happened in that game? What was the difference? What was the key thing? What would you say? Well, what's the first thing you say?
This defensive line was spectacular today.
Yep.
Nick Bosa, people were questioning, where's Nick Bosa? He was the best player on the field today. Javon Hargrave was exceptional. And then Brock Purdy, man, he nailed it. He was bot Purdy out there. He was a robot. He was decisive. He was making plays all over the place. Kittle, B.A., McCaffrey, just sensational performance by Brock Purdy.
Good rap.
D-line. Kev, why don't we go to you? You probably have all kinds of co-eds down there. Oh, you watched the Niner game? Tell us about it.
Make him sound old.
At Cal Poly.
Sounded a little bit like Razor.
Kev watched the Niner game. Oh, really? Did they win? Yeah, they did. They beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville. What happened, Kev?
I think I would say the D-line, but I'll change it up. I think the addition of Debo and Trent were the difference making on the offensive side. I think those two guys, as I was saying earlier, they're not just
return of Debo and Trent Williams.
Yeah, they're not just Debo's not just a good receiver, and Trent Williams not just a good offensive lineman. They're dynamic at their position, so they add multiple layers to the offense. And I think the best illustration of that was, like I said, the outside run, the end around, where Trent Williams got up the field, got a great block, and Debo ran it in. And I just think they add so many layers to Kyle Shanahan's offense, and you can do so much with them that really was, a huge part of today's offensive success.
Rye, what do you think? Nobody saw the game. They come up to you. You saw the game. The Niners got a big win. You watched it. What was the difference?
Oh, Wishnowski. The guy's incredible.
Down this freaking thing at the 1, baby. It was amazing.
He actually is that like I'm joking, but he actually is like such a weapon for this team.
Tip of the spear.
Tip of the spear.
It was 60% Niner fans, and that's how they got it done. They invaded Jacksonville.
I mean, it's just the biggest thing is like, look, I mean, this line didn't make any sense. Like anybody that's like watched the Jaguars the past couple of weeks, like I've been waiting for them to fall off since the stupid narrative of like them going to London and staying 2 weeks in London and coming back and, oh, they're on a short week and then they've got a Thursday. I was betting against them every week and they were just every week. It was ETN, 2 touchdowns. Lawrence looked good. Defense looked great. Doug Peterson has those guys locked in. Now they're finally off a bye, rested, ready to go, facing a reeling Niners team. How are the Niners 3-point favorites at that point? And the only assumption I could have is just Vegas is banking on this Niners team or this Niners defense going back to being a top 5 defense in the league. And that's exactly what happened. So I'd say they're back to being a top 5 defense in the league.
Okay. You're pointing to the defense. Damon?
To return to violence. That's what happened today. The violent nature of the 49ers was to be seen everywhere. Offensively, defensively, especially. And the Niners are at their best when they're violent. They were violent today. And I mean that in the best possible football way. There's enough violence in the world. We ain't talking about that. We all know what I mean. They were nasty. Brass knuckles, punch you in the face, nasty football. And I'm glad that they proved it because I really did think that, and you even saw it when the Jags went to that screen game and they had maybe their best drive of the afternoon. It looked like maybe, just maybe, there was a little something that the 49ers are going to get caught off guard by. But Steve Wilkes came down from the heavens and put his feet on the grass. And that just reinstored some violence into this football team. Chase Young, he's not a cornerback. You're not going to need great cornerbacks if you're getting pressure like that. It was a return to violence. That's what I saw today.
Danny?
Yeah, I thought Steve Wilkes played an outstanding game. He looked good out there on the field. No, Baller kind of summed it up in my view best, took the 3 phases of the game. It was the defense, it was Purdy, and I can't remember exactly what the third one was, but it was great, whatever it was. No, I really think if you wanted one thing, I would say that the return of Bosa and the fact that Dre Greenlaw looked 100% healthier out there makes the entire defense different. With Greenlaw out of they are a different defense. I think he might be the X factor. The unsung X factor is Dre Greenlaw.
It's so interesting to me the way you guys answered this question because Baller went D-line, man. The D-line took over and Brock was awesome. Kev went with the addition, the kind of addition of Debo and Trent Williams or the, bringing those guys back to the lineup. It was the difference. Rye went with, man, the Niners top defense returns. Damon went with the return to violence and Steve Wilkes. Danny went with defense, Purdy, Bosa, healthy Greenlaw. I would say that the Niners took their weak link in coverage off the field in Oliver, replaced him with Thomas, and Thomas had the biggest play of the game and also really tight coverage. And I think the Niner pass coverage was the story. And then also just from being down there and around the team this week, I would say Purdy was just super determined to bounce back, and he was damn good. Purdy was damn good, but to me, the main difference was they looked fresher, but it was Ambry Thomas for Oliver, I thought was a huge, huge factor. And I know that's giving Ambry Thomas more importance than he probably really has to this overall defense. But I just think, like, if you have somebody who's wide freaking open, it's so easy. I mean, I thought Burrow, watching the all-22 of Cincinnati and Minnesota, those 2 quarterbacks just picked on Oliver. I mean, it was just Oliver. It's like if you didn't know where to go with the ball, go with whoever Oliver's defending, and his coverage has been soft. So I think taking Oliver off the field for Ambry, freshening everybody up, and then just Purdy's resolve to just bounce back and be good today. That to me were the differences in this
So,
game.
Larry, more credit to Ambry Thomas or more credit to having just Oliver being off the field? And it could have been Thomas, it could have been Womack, it could have been anybody other than
They
Oliver.
took you're only, the old saying, Danny, you're only as strong as your weakest link. Isaiah Oliver has been this defensive pass coverage's weakest link, and you took your weakest link off the field. And then I thought Ambry played well. I thought Ambry, he had the PI, which was bad, but other than the PI, and I just tweeted out, man, Ambry's looking good next play, like PI. So I jinxed him. But yeah, I thought Ambry probably taking Oliver off the field was probably the not having that guy who, was Kev pointed out in a tweet a week or two ago, had been giving up 100% completion percentage against
4 straight games.
It felt like Lenore was the preferred player to pick on today from Trevor Lawrence when he did get things going. It looks like that, that's where they were trying to go with the ball. I thought that Charvarius Ward, again, who needs to foul while defending a bit less for sure. I thought that it was a lot easier to say that he had committed a foul more than Nick Bosa roughed the passer on that. Bosa to me, like, barrel rolled and had Lawrence land on top of him. That shouldn't have been roughing the passer, but we all know that the league has gone a little soft in that category. I thought that Mooney Ward maybe had the single best defensive play of the entire afternoon, where instead of it being 10-7, it was 10-3, because he made a great pass breakup in the end zone on Christian Kirk, and that could have changed just the feel of that entire game. So, you got to always have short memories. If you're a corner, you will get burned in this league. There is and that guy never got beat cornerback out there. There is no like Revis Island. There's no Dion really out there anymore these days. You're going to get beat. Even on a day where he got beat a couple times, I thought that Mooney Ward actually had a good game, and he certainly made one of the biggest plays of the day.
Oh, I thought his hit too on who was that monster hit on? Was that Etienne? Where he smoked the guy, and they said that could have been a penalty. They looked at it 3 different ways. I showed his forearm. I think it was Etienne. Might have been Ridley.
It was. He was coming across the field. It was one of those two, Larry. I didn't think that there was any malicious intent. It looked like he was almost trying to pull up a little. And
right.
you got Daryl Johnson talking about, well, it might have been a forearm shiver. And like, not really. I mean, it was a falling player into the arms of a player who was looking to pull up and not catch a penalty, but it was on the edge. I mean, it could have happened. It was on the edge.
RG Teamster drops this super. He says, defense played discipline, no hero ball. Yeah, I think that's well said. Also, guys, here is the scene from the locker room at the end of the game. Here it is, a little bit of Shanahan talking to his team at the very end of this game. Here we go.
Hey, guys, we talked about it all. All right, guys. All right, one play at a time, just playing as good as we can. All right, 4 turnovers. Hey, D had 4, O we had 0. I know how bad we all wanted this. I know what you guys have done and worked for this. All right, we'll get ready for next week, man.
I think it's safe to say we learned our lesson. All right, from here on out, it's one game at a time. All right, let's go get it next week against Tampa. Let's get it. 9 on 3, 1, 2, 3. Hey!
There you go. Always interesting to kind of see those scenes in the locker room. But what do you think? Are the Niners going to right the ship now? Have they righted the ship? Are they going to go on a run here, or do you guys see what game? I mean, obviously the Eagle game is going to be hugely challenging, but do you guys see the Niners going on a run here, or do you think you can't project anything off this?
I think I see the Niners going into Philly 8-3 and Philly being 9-2, and the talk will be for the number 1 seed that game. That's my prediction.
Niners are winning at least 4 out of their next 5. And the only questionable one is the Eagles game, but I see the Niners winning at least 4 of their next 5.
I think if history tells us anything, they're going to go on a huge run. But I think the best thing, one of the better things that came out of this game is that no one got hurt. And I saw a tweet like Trent's doing fine. So if they can get even more healthy going into next week, I think, big run's coming.
I think a big run's coming. I really do. I think they're gonna take care of Tampa. I think they're gonna take care of Seattle. I've said all year that I think they're going to win in Philly. I think they're going to go on a run until Christmas. I really do. And then Christmas, we'll see. We'll see what
it's
it
a
looks
look
like.
good, feel good, play good league. And right now, this team is looking good and feeling good and playing good. And I don't know if, like, there is something to Nick Bosa's Chase Young is here. I mean, I thought that was easy to see. You could see just a different heartbeat across that entire defensive line. And, you know, so much. If let's say next 5 games, there really is a 4-1 out there for them. They're about to go 4-1 in their next 5, which would set them up so incredibly well for what you want to be at the end of the year. But so much of this, Larry, you guys all know this. Stars can't make plays every single play. They can't. Like, that's what great coaching does. Great coaching neutralizes stars. And so much of the game is won somewhere in the depth chart. And right now, the amount of responsibility to really win a Super Bowl is on, Cleveland Farrell and Javon Kinlaw and, Eric Armstead. It's not going to be Nick Bosa and Chase Young that win the Super Bowl. It's going to be the other guys feasting off the attention that they get. And if, all teams are trying, is my third best wide receiver better than your third best corner? Like, that's the question that every offensive coordinator is asking against the Niners defense. Can I beat Ambry Thomas? Can I beat, Isaiah Oliver? That's where the game is happening. So if the depth of this team starts putting up some gaudy type of stats, and now all of a sudden you got Eric Armstead flirting with an 8, 9, 10 sack year, and Hargrave keeps that up, that's where the difference between really good and great, I think, gets determined for this team.
2 last things, and then we're going to bolt for the door. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Tune in tomorrow at 8 a.m. on Damon and my channels for 49er Wake Up. 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. We'll break this whole thing down once again, do a morning live stream.
And we have a new 49ers Wake Up logo.
Ooh.
We got a new logo. We got a new sponsor. All right, we'll talk more about that in the morning. Check us out tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. All right, it's time for the New York Style Sausage Company play of the game.
Play of the game or play?
Play. No, we're gonna go play of the game this week. We have the we have the audible from New York Style Italian Sausage to go play of the game or player of the game, and it is brought to you by New York Style Italian Sausage and our good friend Pasquale.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner. That means
we grew up Sunday dinner, and for those of you who didn't get that the first time,
we grew up with a Sunday dinner. That means no matter.
We grew up with the Sunday dinner and a pack of Camel non-filter. All right, who is what is the play of the game? Who wants to go first? And there are no wrong answers. The play of the game. Who wants to go first?
I'm going Bosa strip sack.
The Bosa strip sack. The Bosa, the Buckeye sandwich.
That to me was one of those moments that if the Jaguars are going to get back into this game, it's going to happen on this drive. They're in scoring territory. They're going to take this from being a 3 or 2 possession game into, hey, they're still very much in it. And I just thought that was a moment where the Jaguars sideline started going like, oh shit, we're in it today. We're in this team came to play. I thought that was a huge, huge momentum turn.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
I'm going to go Ambry Thomas. It was 20-3. Jags were driving.
2nd and goal from the 9.
Yep. Could have punched it in, made it a 20-10. And then all of a sudden crowd gets into it. Things start feeling a little bit more tight. And, the fact that it would have been a TD, but they took it down the field even after it was called back for the penalty and scored and put the game away.
That's a good one. Right?
I'm going Brock Purdy coming at a half. George Kittle down the sideline. Purdy, the pockets compressing in on him, and Purdy lays it out. 66-yard touchdown, longest touchdown pass of Purdy's career. And that put it at the score at 20-3 and kind of sealed the deal in my mind.
Yeah, it's a good one. There's a lot of good plays in this game. Rye, what are you going with?
Okay, I'll say just this. in terms of like the most impactful play of the game, I do think it was the first.
It could be your favorite play of the game as well. It doesn't have to. It, whatever.
I'm going to go with the Brock Purdy first touchdown. Just the fact that it was completed and that, Ayuk makes the catch. I'm just thinking in my head, like, it's what, a 0-0 game? If that's a pick in the red zone, like all of a sudden, the ghosts, the Twitter, all of it. It's Shanahan's.
He's not him. People are typing in, he's not him.
Yeah, he's not him. He doesn't have the dog.
Never mind.
But yeah, I mean, just the fact that you said, like, in hindsight, like Shanahan, like it took him like a while to kind of get over that play, even though it worked out. Like, could you imagine if it went the other way? Would have been bad. And I think he would have had Purdy on a leash. So I'll say that play.
Kev, what's the play of the game in your mind?
I don't know. I'm gonna do one that hasn't been said yet, but I was gonna go Purdy because I haven't said anything about Purdy today, and I just thought he's great standing in the pocket there. But I think an underrated play was the Jaguars' first drive coming out of half, where Bosa gets the pressure, which leads to an interception off the hands of ETN. I think that is just like not the game ceiling because it's still it's the third quarter, but it kind of was the game ceiling play because they're up 20-3.
The one that Big B tipped into the air?
Yeah. It was Big B or ETN. I wasn't sure.
It was Big B. It was Big B.
Yeah, but it's just, that's the game-wrecking play that we've been missing from Nick Bosa this whole season. And like, there you go. He just wrecks the game.
Chased him down.
Back. Yeah, they get the ball back when it's 20-3. So I mean that's just kind of sealed the deal.
Those were all great, by the way, all great choices. I'm gonna go with a little bit more obscure play because that's the kind of guy I am. Danny went with the Ambry Thomas forced fumble recovery, but then the Niners got just the colossal idiotic penalty of all time, and that whole touchdown, which would have been a touchdown, gets wiped away. And it's 49ers ball on their own 19-yard line. And if you remember, he threw it to CMC on first down and went for 1 yard. Then on 2nd and 9, he throws an incomplete pass. So suddenly this the Niners are celebrating on their sideline. Now suddenly it's 3rd and 9 and the Niners are backed up on their own 19-yard line in a game. There's still plenty of time left. And it's only 20-3, so they're up big. But to me, that 3rd and 9 play from their own 43,
Ayuk,
or 3rd and 9 play from their own 19, and Purdy finds Ayuk for 20, and it was just the backbreaker. And all of a sudden, you look up and you're like, oh, it's 1st and 10 on the 41-yard line, and the Niners are up 20-3, and the feeling just totally right then was like. That felt to me like the dagger. Like, that was the Larry Bird 3. You're up 7 and suddenly now you're up 10. Back in the day, if some of you younger guys don't remember Larry Bird. It was that felt like the dagger. So I'm going to say Purdy on the 3rd and 9, from the 19, completing a 20-yard pass. And now all of a sudden the Niners are at the 40 and it's, then a couple plays later, Debo on the end around scored and 27-3 Niners, and then it's all over except for the crying. So yeah, there we go. Thank you to New York Style Italian Sausage for our play of the game today in the post-game show. And the last question I want to throw your guys' way. This is Sean Crowley, who says, jury is still out on Trevor Lawrence. He turns it over. He's skittish. Where are you guys with Trevor Lawrence? Is Trevor Lawrence, do you see super special? Do you see Super Bowl winning quarterback? Do you see a guy that, he was talked about like he was going to be the best quarterback coming out in the draft since Andrew Luck? Look at that draft. Zach Wilson, bust. To date, Mac Jones is looking like a bust. Justin Fields is looking like a bust. Trey Lance is looking like a bust. He can't even get on the field. There was so much hope for the quarterbacks in that draft, and everybody's been a bum except for Trevor Lawrence. But where are you guys exactly with Trevor Lawrence?
I just want to add that Rich Madrid currently, as we're speaking, is having a war with Richard Sherman about this exact topic on Twitter.
Really? Can you encapsulate what Rich Madrid, a man who's in his own head, is saying to rip Sherman.
The one comment that people are kind of going crazy about is that Rich said responding to Richard Sherman, if you watch the tape, you'd know. And then
Oh God.
say,
Oh my God.
So.
Oh, that
But
poor guy.
I don't even who's Rich Madrid. I don't even know who that is.
He's just a hater.
Oh, okay.
A guy in the sitting with a computer and a lot of confidence.
Wants Richard Sherman to put the tape on.
Yeah. What do you know, Richard Sherman? You're not watching the tape like I'm rolling the tape back and forth.
You know what I think? Here's what I think about Lawrence, all Twitter beefs aside. I think he's a really, really good, talented quarterback with all the physical traits that you would want to see in a guy that you take number 1 overall. Brock Purdy is demonstrating that you don't need those physical traits to be an outstanding NFL quarterback. But if you can have them, you certainly want them. He was put in such an odd situation with the whole Urban Meyer disaster. I think that Peterson has done a hell of a job getting an awful lot out of a team that is on the come. The Niners took away his safety blanket today. Did Evan Ingram do a thing? They did a great job taking him away, and Lawrence was under duress all day long. So I thought it was Trevor Lawrence is a really good quarterback. He's not Andrew Luck. If he just keeps it up, he's probably going to win a Super Bowl level of prospect, but he's really, really good. And he is, look, the Jacksonville Jaguars have a team that, like, players actually want to be on that team for the first time in its franchise's history. Like, give them a couple more years together. They're good. He's good. I mean, there's no reason to rip that guy apart. He is not among the reasons that they were destroyed today. He's also not among the reasons that they even had a shot to win it. But he's a good quarterback, and to say otherwise is I think kind of nuts.
All right, Rye, what do you think? By the way, we'll welcome in JD. JD, good to see you. And JD, what we'll do is since you came in late, we're towards the end of the show here. As soon as we answer this question, I'll let guys bail out, and then I still want to get your thoughts on it. But Rye, go ahead. What do you think, Trevor Lawrence? Where are you with Trevor Lawrence?
I'm a Trevor Lawrence hater, definitely. Just because, like, I watched Burrow just smoke him in college, and everyone was just sucking him off for the 2 years at Clemson and just talking about how he's, the most guaranteed thing, possibly more guaranteed than Andrew Luck. And then his whole first year, I felt like he got no shit because of the Urban Meyer situation, understandably. And like, he's fine. He's good. He makes a few throws like every game that, like, you can put clips up on Twitter and be like, look at this throw. But I mean, ultimately, I just feel like it's so stupid and dumb sports talk radio thing to say, but I just don't think he has that dog in him. I don't think he does.
All right, fair enough.
He
and
had
by
that
the way,
dog
sucking
he
him off
clipped
would be
Thomas at the end of the play. Right, that was
looked like a late hit to me.
Embry ran it in, and it's like he's already crossed the end zone. And
I thought that was I thought there should have been a flag on that because that was a dangerous. You talk about going to the head. He was
late.
It was late. He was relaxed because you can blow out an ACL doing that. What happened to him there? Because
then Embry was getting stretched out right after that. So
yeah,
that was not a dog move. That was like a Joffrey from Game of Thrones type move.
By the way, for those of you who don't know the terminology, sucking him off means saying things that are very pro Trevor Lawrence. Kev, without essing him off, can you give us your thoughts on Trevor Lawrence?
I'm with Damon on this one. I think he's a really good quarterback. He obviously
you're with Damon. We'll move you over there next to Damon. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think he's a really good quarterback. He's obviously super talented. I think he may have just peaked really early, and like that's why he got the generational talent, like kind of moniker, because he was really good in college, and he was the generational talent. And then he hasn't taken like the next like step to being kind of how dominant he was in college in the NFL. He definitely turns the ball over a lot, but I still think he's very talented, and you could just see it on the tape. And he has arm talent. He can thread the needle, but he has a turnover problem right now. So
baller.
I'm still in on Trevor Lawrence. I'm not impressed with Doug Peterson and his offense. Like, he's constantly in the shotgun. I don't know if that's Lawrence's preference. The first year under Urban Meyer, That was Urban Meyer kind of he was awful in that first year. I'm still in on Lawrence. I'm putting some of it. I don't want to make excuses for Lawrence, but I'm not impressed with what I'm seeing from Doug Peterson's offense.
Okay. Danny?
Yeah, I like Trevor Lawrence. I think I kind of put him in the early, kind of the early years of Goff when Goff was with the Rams. A lot of inconsistency up and down, but the talent's there. He just hasn't been able to put it all together. I think he will at some point start to be a player where Goff's at this year, having that type of year. But he definitely was the best player of QB out of that draft. I think he's probably will finish, his career as right now. I kind of put him in that top 12 to 14 category as a QB, right in there. I don't see him being ever a top 5, but I think he's a serviceable guy that you can get to the playoffs with.
I compare him very similar to a Herbert. I think, everything you want physically, and I don't know how much he's going to win. We'll see. The jury's out. I guess I got to see those guys prove it, that they're big time winners and not just, they're almost like central casting quarterbacks, and it's like, they look, if you're having a quarterback movie, you'd want them. They would be the first guy you would take. But as far as actually winning, I'd probably take half dozen guys over those guys. But I think he's good. I think he actually is a tougher guy than he looks, with the hair. He's kind of looks like a pretty boy. I think he's actually a little bit more gritty and a little bit tougher, but I think it's going to take a long time. And I question whether he'll ever really climb to the top of the mountain. Guys, that's a hell of a show. JD, go ahead. Give me your thought on Lawrence before I let some of the guys out here.
Fuck him. I mean, really. I mean, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I didn't want to go the Smitty route, but
suck him off.
Yeah, I also wanted to make sure that everybody knew I was here. So I don't know that I've ever seen a set. What is this? A 7-box?
It's a 7-box.
We got 7 men in the box.
7 men in the box.
We're almost going red zone octobox.
Yeah, seriously. This is the morning slate. And what's the guy, Scott Hansen?
Yeah.
Is this a 4-3 or a 3-4? I think it's Rye and I on the defensive ends.
This is the goddamn witching hour. No. JD, give us your quick thought on Trevor Lawrence, and then we'll let some of these guys get on with their Sunday.
Yeah, I think he's really good. I think turns the ball over probably a little bit too much, which is part of why they haven't won as much, or he hasn't won as much in his career. I like the Herbert comparison because they both do have all the tools, but yet there also is something lacking, and you can't quite pinpoint it. Is it organizational failure for both, or is it there's just an individual component to their game that is preventing them from winning at the level that you would think that their teams would be automatics if their talent was at that top of the draft level. So but hey, they'd won 5 straight games. He had been outstanding. He had a bad game today, and a lot of that was the 49ers made him have a bad game today. But I'm still in on Trevor Lawrence. I think they're going to win a lot of football games with him as a quarterback.
Good show today, guys. I'm going to cut it right here for I'm going to let JD have a few more thoughts, but Baller, great stuff, man. Tell us what you got cooking on the Baller channel, Bay Area Baller 18. This is the part of the show where I kind of move everybody to the side and let everybody kind of see, so you can see everybody's show name on there. It's Bay Area Baller 18. I love everybody. We got almost 700 people in the room. It'll be an awesome thing if all 700 of you went and signed up over at Bay Area Baller 18. He does great stuff. He puts out great content. Baller, tell us when you're doing your next deal on your channel.
Hey, it's going down tomorrow night. My Straight Out of the Bay show, me and 3 of my buddies, 8:15, right after Monday Night Football. We'll be live breaking this down. I might rewatch this thing a second time, formulate some extra thoughts, kind of lock in on some differences. But hey, dominant performance by the Niners today. The D-line, Brock Purdy, exceptional. Had a blast. Love breaking down the game with you guys in these post-game shows. Thanks for having me. And yes, fellas, subscribe right here. Bay Area Baller 18.
Love you, brother. Have a great Sunday, man. Appreciate you. Did Damon already jump out? Damon
No, I'm
jumped
right
out.
here.
Oh, where is he?
He's under this New York style sausage logo.
I'm under the logo.
God damn it. All right.
I'm under the sausage.
Well, there he is. Now
There he
rise
is.
into the sausage.
Good way to
All
get
right.
out of the box, Damon.
Seriously.
All right, Damon, go. Everybody tune in tomorrow morning to the Krug Show and Damon Bruce's channel, Damon Bruce Plus on YouTube at 8 a.m. for 49er Wake Up. Damon, you went live today after the game, and you're obviously the channel's growing. How many subs right now?
We're great. I'll tell you what, we're sitting at like 8,940. So in 60, I'll be at 9,000. And here's my only request, because I really want to hear what JD has to say too. His boots are on the ground, baby, and he's coming in spicy, and I love that. I love a spicy JD, like I love a spicy New York Italian style sausage. And guess what? It's my anniversary. I'm taking Jillian out for our 7-year anniversary tonight as an anniversary present. I'd sure would love any one of the 700 in the room right now who's not looking at subscribe to Damon Bruce Plus. That would mean an awful lot. Nice little anniversary present. No skin off your back. No money exchanging hands. Just hit subscribe. Larry, thank you. 49.
What restaurant are you taking her to? Can you divulge?
They are not. They're not a sponsor. I also don't want to give away the location.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, brother.
All 700 will be following you.
Yeah,
I love you, brother. We'll see you in the morning.
Great
see you
to
in the
see all
morning.
you guys. Thank you so very, very much. Take care.
There you go, Damon Bruce. Danny, we'll move Danny into the main slot there. NorCal Sports Network is Danny's channel. Danny, how many subs right now?
Yeah, we're sitting at about 925, 930, somewhere around there. We want to get over 1,000 so we get monetized. And
Let's get
everything.
Danny over 1,000 so we can actually
Yeah.
get monetized. Everybody go hit NorCal Sports Network. Danny, GM meetings just passed. The winter meetings are around the corner. Next time the Giants sign somebody, Danny will be jumping on the Krug Show for a big extravaganza. But Danny, when are you going live next?
Well, we're actually going to go live later tonight after Sunday Night Football. We'll do a 49er recap, an NFL recap, and we'll touch a little bit on what's going on with the Giants baseball. I tell everybody, don't get excited for the Ohtani rumors. He's not coming. All right.
Polar bear?
It's not going to happen.
Soto?
I don't. Yeah, I don't.
Did you hear? Did you see my thing, Danny, the other day? I'm like, Polar bear, Soto, Ohtani, Bellinger. Let's put it into the Giants equation. Boop 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 boop. It equals Trent Grisham.
There you go.
Or Harrison
like that.
Bader. There
Yeah.
you go.
You
Danny,
know,
everybody
I like
give,
Bader.
we like Bader, but at $10 million. Danny, have a great night. We will talk to you soon.
Catch us over at NorCal Sports Network. Appreciate it if you would subscribe. And thanks again, Larry. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Have a great Sunday, man. And we'll move Ryan to the center square. Rise West Coast Smitty on X, but West Coast Bias on YouTube, and an OG on the Krug Show. Rye, what's going on the channel? When can people expect to see you putting out content? Are you coming on after Warrior games? Are you doing movie reviews? Are you talking football? Are you doing exactly how are you dispensing of West Coast bias?
So I put the movie reviews on hold right now just because we got so much sports going on and coming up. So tonight I'll probably be live talking a little NFL, maybe a little bit of college football as well. And I'm diving full into college basketball this year. So by the time March rolls around, I'm going to be that guy who you're like, wow, how does that guy know like all of the guys on Morehead State? And like, that's who I want to be. You know, Larry, you're very inspirational with your all of your draft knowledge. So yeah, I'm going to be doing some college basketball. You know, I've got a future on St. Mary's. I think they actually have a chance to make like Elite Eight, maybe go deeper. Aiden Mahaney, baby. And then, you know, going to be doing NBA stuff. You know, talking bets, futures, all that kind of stuff. And definitely going to be coming on here after Warriors games, like whenever you're doing that.
Yeah,
and I'm
we'll
going to definitely.
soon.
Yeah. Oh my God. The other night was brutal. But yeah,
the retroactive technical. We learned something new. The retroactive T.
Oh God, it's frustrating. I've already gone through. I've gone 360 on this Warriors team like 3 different times this year. Okay. So yeah, West Coast bias. Please subscribe. We're going to be doing a show later today, probably one tomorrow. Going to be on with a Raiders fan who's probably just going to, pull his hair out as the Raiders find a way to lose this game.
There you go. All right, Rye. Be well, my friend. West Coast bias, guys. West Coast bias. Go give him a follow over there on his YouTube channel. And Kev, are you hanging for JD or you got a jet?
I'll hang.
Okay, good.
I will add one thing.
Okay.
Someone said that Rye's the best better on the Krug show. I'm pretty hot. this year. I'm in a little thing where I have to pick the spread for every game. I'm 57% through 81 games. Pretty good.
Look at that.
57% is pretty sharp.
Look at that.
I'm just saying.
Just saying. He's pulling in cash.
Should give out picks.
So JD, would you give us your thoughts on the game, man? We won't go forever here, but
Sure.
Where are you, by the way?
Yeah, I'm actually at Chase Center right now. This is the first Niner game that I didn't cover in person this season. I had
because the Warriors get the T-Wolves tonight, right?
Yeah, the Warriors had the Cavs last night as well. The old home back-to-back, and the Timberwolves tonight.
Rough
so this was the one out of the first 9 now where I wasn't on hand in person. But it looks like it's going to be the only one, maybe. So that's some good news on that front. Be in Seattle for Thanksgiving, so looking forward to that. That's a pretty big game coming up, and then back at home next week when the Niners take on the Buccaneers. So looking forward to that. But yeah, watching at home on the couch, doing a little digital content for 95.7 The Game, and yeah, now at Chase and getting ready. About an hour, I'll be on with the pregame with Warriors Live on 95.7 The Game, and then the Dubs are going to play the Timberwolves, and I'll be on after. So we'll get that promotion out of the way and talking some Niners tomorrow with Steiny and Guru as well during their show. And then, so that's all good stuff. As far as the game, I mean, just what the doctor ordered for the Niners. I mean, get out, get in front early. I thought offensively, Kyle Shanahan had all his weapons back. He had Trent Williams back. And man, Trent Williams was a monster in this game today. Deebo Samuel was back. They just looked refreshed, reinvigorated. It was a whole hell of a lot to get the ball to Christian McCaffrey. Really, I thought in the two key junctures offensively, right at the start, it was a lot of get it to McCaffrey, and then everybody else falls in line off of that. I thought Shanahan went to that right off the top. I thought that second half possession, he went to that, and it sets up the big ball to Kittle. But offensively, it just looked like Shanahan had all the chess pieces back. He had time to prepare, time to reset, and everything was just working. And Brock Purdy was steady and comfortable and healthy and all of those things. And then the Niners are a good front-running team. To get out and get a lead and get a couple of stops, force some turnovers, heat up the quarterback. I mean, the 4 turnovers and the 5 sacks. You see Chase Young and Nick Bosa meeting at the quarterback. I mean, that's the way it's supposed to look. Fred Warner was flying around today, hitting people. He gets the interception later. I mean, to me, it was just all boxes checked, with the exception of getting Christian McCaffrey his touchdown there at the end. All boxes checked, kind of a win. It did have the feel that it was a little closer than you wanted it to be at halftime when the offense kind of stalled out there. But being able to get the field goal right before the half, I thought the fumble was absolutely huge as well. The forced fumble when the Jags were going down, looking like they were going to get on the board, but they hold the Jags to the field goal right before the half, and then they go down and match the field goal to be up 13-3 at the half and come out, and that little 10-0 run bridging the two halves. I thought that was what won the Niners the game. They go up 20-3. And then at that point, the pressure is getting home. It's forcing turnovers, and then it turns into a boat race. So great win. The Niners look back. The defense was there. Wilkes on the field. I thought his exchange with Ambry Thomas after maybe the play of Ambry Thomas's career, where they're just kind of hyping each other up, and Thomas is almost saying, "Yeah, man, I'm doing this for you," or "I did it the way you want, the way you've taught it." I thought that was a great little moment. And now it's on to Tampa, which I think is a game the Niners need to get, and then we'll see what happens with Seattle here the next couple of weeks before they play on Thanksgiving.
Here's the one thing I thought was kind of weird. Why, if the Niners wanted to get CMC the record, I mean, okay, so they got this final drive. It's their 10th drive. It's fourth and 5. They call a timeout. They're on the 28-yard line. They run CMC for a first down. Then they call another timeout. Then they have CMC on a 1-yard run on first and goal from the 10. Then Darnold throws it to CMC for 6 yards on second and goal. Then they try to run CMC on third and goal from the 3. And then they go fourth and goal, and Darnold tried to throw it to CMC from the 5.
Yeah, they put him out wide. Yeah.
What I didn't get there is why not, since everybody knows, if you really want to get him the record, now obviously, we're questioning garbage time here, but why didn't Shanahan, if you wanted to get him the record, just use somebody else to get to the 1? Just have somebody with a little stop route, and
I think he was afraid they wouldn't get there.
But was he afraid that he'd be viewed as pouring it on? Because to me, what you do is you say, guys, we're going to go a little stop route. You're just going to fall down. We're going to throw it low to Kittle or whomever, and you're just going to fall down at the 1. And then we're going to give McCaffrey 2 or 3 shots from the 1. Instead, they kind of let it be known that they were going to be going to McCaffrey over and over and over again. They just the whole defense was there to shut down McCaffrey, and then you wind up giving McCaffrey all these touches where he just got crushed. And it's like, if he was just a bit player, it'd be one thing, but he's like your main guy, and you allowed them to have a bunch of hits on him when you probably, if you wanted to get him the record, there was probably a better way to do it.
I didn't like that part of it, the fact that they put a lot of hits on him. I think Shanahan did it that way, and I didn't hear any of the post-game comments, and obviously not in Jacksonville, so I have less of a frame of reference on it. But I think he was trying to do everything he could to get the ball in McCaffrey's hands while also remaining respectful. I think that's why, 4th and 5 run. To me, that's okay, I'm putting it in his hands. Maybe he'll break one. Maybe he'll get the first down. We'll keep things going. But I'm also going to be respectful and not, throw a play action pass or spread it out.
Reverse or something.
Yeah, so I think he was trying to maybe I'm trying to think of the right word. He was trying to keep everybody happy, right? Trying not.
He was trying to tactfully do it.
Yeah, trying not to piss off the Jags while also putting the ball in McCaffrey's hands and hoping he breaks one. I think that was what he was thinking. Is let's break this, the 17-yard run or the 25-yard run, and then we don't have to worry about it. And it didn't happen, and then it became obvious to everyone that they were trying to chase it. So yeah, I think he was maybe trying to cater to too many masters there. Just try to, rather than just running because if you run your regular offense like you're trying to score, then I think you are going to be pissing off the Jags, who at times I didn't think really knew that I didn't think the Jags up until they got to the 5 knew what they were doing. And so if you really go aggressive, I think maybe they get pissed off, and then once they know what you're doing, maybe they try and break McCaffrey's leg or something like that, and then it can end up all bad, or you end up with a total fracas on the field between the two teams. And so all in all, I think it would have been great to see him get the record. It would have been super cool. And obviously once he's got the record, you never have to worry about it again. You don't have to run the record up. You never would have been in that position to have to do that again. But I also think the most important thing is they got the hell out of there with everybody intact, and McCaffrey especially, because could you imagine as they're doing it, if something happens to CMC on a play like that where, it's a 34-3 game? Yeah.
Last one for you. Appreciate you spending the time. I got one more on this and then one more on the Warriors. How many games is this Niners going to go on a run here? I think they're going to go on a run. I think they're going to beat Tampa. I think they're going to beat Seattle in both those games. I think they're going to win in Philly. I think they're going to go on a 5 or 6 game winning streak, and I think they're going to roll into Christmas real hot against a really good Ravens team.
Yeah, they look back today, and it was against a good football team too. I know the Jags played an awful game today, but the Jags were playing as well as anybody in the NFL. So this win today was no joke for the Niners, and everything that the Niners do well, when they're playing well, they did today. So I think that's a great sign. I'm going to go as far as the next two. I love them against Tampa. I think that's a win. I think they're a better team than Seattle. I think Seattle's a better team than they were last year when the 49ers went there and beat them in December and similar circumstances, not on Thanksgiving, but a Thursday night short week game. Obviously, Purdy was hurt in that game. We all know the story with the ribs. But I think that I think the Niners are going to go into Seattle and win. As long as they stay healthy, like they were today, I think they go in and win. I'm going to end it there. And I'm just going to say I'm super excited about the Philly. Like if they go in winners of 3 in a row, going into Philly, I mean, that's, I think, the game of the year at that point in the NFL on December the 3rd. And, then we'll see whether the 49ers still have action as far as maybe getting the 1 seed, because the Eagles' schedule, as we all know, is incredibly difficult these next few weeks. I mean, you talk about no joke. I mean, they've got Kansas City coming up. They've got Dallas again coming up. They've got the game against San Francisco coming up. There's one I'm forgetting. I think in there mixed in. I think they play Seattle as well up in Seattle over that stretch. So they've got a lot of difficult games. So if the Niners can get on a roll and go into Seattle and win, and then go to Philly and win, I think they may still have action for the number 1 overall seed in the first round bye. And at that point, I think we're looking in the rearview mirror at the last 3 weeks like it was just a blip on what's probably a 13-4 or 12-5 season.
Yeah, we can't forget the Lions either. They just took a lead. They're up 38-31 on the Chargers. Last one, Warrior game last night.
Ugly.
So I'm watching that game. Draymond pushes Donovan Mitchell. There's no call. The Warriors they inbound the ball. They go down the other way. And Mitchell runs in and bumps Draymond. And then all of a sudden they go to look at it, and then they go back to the play, and they decided that they're going to retroactively give a second technical to Draymond, which got him then ejected from the game. Thought that was obviously the hugest moment of the game. I've never seen that before. Then I listened to Kerr in the post game, and he's like, I didn't know that. I didn't know we could retroactively. He's like, I'd like to go back to a couple games ago when we, had this or that.
Yeah, 3 years ago, he said. It was
3 years ago.
Good material.
Yeah. But what the heck was going on there? Is that within NBA rules? Or are they making it up as they go? I mean, what was the story there?
They're not making it up as they go. I didn't know that the extension of the rule existed at the level in which they used it last night. But the one thing I did know was the fact that you can, under replay, review all aspects of the play. So if you're reviewing an out of bounds play now, and let's say that's the ball's off me, Larry, it's your ball, but it really went off of you. So I challenge it and I say, the ball went off of Larry. Well, if I challenge it and say the ball went off of Larry, and they review it and they see, the ball went off of Larry, but JD, you fouled the hell out of Larry and we didn't call it. They can then say, well, JD, the ball's off of Larry, but you fouled him. So it's a foul on you. It's Larry's ball, or Larry's going to shoot free throws, or whatever it is in that given situation. So they do have the ability to review all aspects of a play once there's a scenario that triggers the review. And the nature of Mitchell's foul, because it was a hard enough foul, and there had been some jawing going on between the two and between Draymond and others on the Cavs team from really throughout the second and third quarters. The game had gotten chippy. There was a lot of talking going on between the two. There were some physical fouls between the two teams. So the game had been on what I would call, from the official standpoint, it had gone into kind of a high alert mode. Like, hey, something could break out or jump off here. So when Mitchell fouled Draymond that way, they went back and looked at what I think they deemed it to be an extension of the last play, because the two had been jawing, and because it was consecutive, they that's how they skirted the rule, or it was allowed to be included. It wasn't as if it was 2-3 play. Like if there had been another possession in between, then I don't think they would have been able to do it. But because it was on the consecutive possessions with hostile potential acts going both ways, that's how they got around the rule, or it became within the purview. I was surprised, Larry, and I didn't know this until the end of the night. I was talking to the great Raymond Ritter of the Warriors, public relations at the end of the night, and I said, what did the pool report say? Because typically, whenever there's some kind of question with the officials, the media can say, hey, get a pool reporter to go to the officials' locker room, ask them some questions about what happened. And I was doing the post-game show, so I have to duck out of everything. I had assumed that, there will be a pool report requested, and there never was. No reporter had asked last night for a pool report, so there was never an official explanation given by the crew chief, which I would have loved to have heard and been able to obviously relay in a weird situation.
The Warriors going to win tonight?
Tough matchup. Timberwolves are playing great to begin the year. Home heavy schedule for them. They won 5 out of 8 at home. They're 5-0 at home, but they beat Boston. They've beaten Denver. It's the Nuggets' only loss this season was up at Target Center in Minnesota. The Timberwolves, I think we need to slow our roll. I know people in NBA circles are kind of saying, hey, could this team be a kid? I don't think they're a contender necessarily on November the 12th. I think they're a really good team. They play physical basketball. They bring the crazy a little bit. Anthony Edwards is a flat out stud. They take on his personality in terms of physicality, and Gobert's been terrific to begin the season, and Towns and the Warriors have been able to make both of those two players look silly at times. So I think that's a window, even though they have size and length that typically gives the Warriors problems. The Cavaliers' size and length gave the Warriors a lot of problems in the two matchups this last week. I think the Warriors are looking for a bounce back. I kind of feel like the Warriors are going to split the two with Minnesota. They play them tonight and they play them again on Tuesday at Chase. Part of that, trying to cut down on travel, the NBA having some of these teams come in and play back-to-back games in the same city. The Warriors have that with the Thunder. The Thunder come into Chase and play Thursday and Saturday, 2 games in the same city, trying to cut down on some of the league-wide travel. So I kind of feel like with the way the Warriors are going, this is a split. Minnesota gets one. I don't know if it's tonight. The Warriors get one. I don't know if it's Tuesday. But suddenly, all of the little questions that, because the Warriors have been winning games close, have popped up that had been questions even when they were winning. Where are they going to get secondary scoring? What's going on with Wiggins and Klay Thompson? And how will they handle teams with size like Cleveland and Minnesota? So this is a good test on the second of a back-to-back. It looks like the Warriors are going to have everybody, with maybe the exception of Gary Payton II.
JD, good stuff, man. Have a great night. Always good. We'll check for you tomorrow on 95.7 The Game with Guru and Steiny. That's a 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. show. Have a great night. Thanks for jumping in on the Krug Show, brother.
Thanks, Larry. Thanks, Kevin. Apologies for being late. I was trying to get the heck out from the East Bay over to Chase here for the game tonight. So we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, sweat. JD. We'll talk to you soon. The great JD in the house for the Krug Show. All right, we're coming down the home stretch. We do have one more starred chat I want to get to here. Niner Gold says, Larry, please ask Kyle if he goes to the booth for the Ambry touchdown.
What he means is there was jokes about how, like, Shanahan should go to the booth because he was on the field. Because you know how, like, that, yeah, he was on the field during that penalty.
So was Johnny Holland, so were the players. Yeah, that was not a great moment. But Purdy picked him up after that. There was no doubt about that. Kev, good stuff, man. By the way, we have games going on right now.
Yeah, I was literally just going to say, if you are about to tune out of the Krug Show, I'll tell you where you need to go. You need to go watch the Lions and the Chargers. They just tied it up with 3 minutes left, 38-38. So you got a big game going on right there.
What channel is that on? Is that the
That's Paramount Plus, CBS, I think. You might not get that.
No, I got it. Let me see. There it is. Lions, Chargers. Once again, Justin Herbert doesn't win. They do good. He's probably has good stats in that game. Does his team win? We'll see. I guess we'll find out if they win. But for the most part, he doesn't win. He's 27 of 40 for 323 and 4 touchdowns and 1 pick. So he's obviously had a good day statistically. He's got a 114.9 rating. Goff has thrown for a couple touchdowns, 117 yards for David Montgomery in this game. Amon-Ra St. Brown has had a big day. How about Keenan Allen? 11 catches for 175 and 2 touchdowns.
Jesus.
Did you trade for Keenan or trade away Keenan in a fantasy trade this year?
Neither. I've never had him.
Maybe that's
Stay away from injury guys.
Maybe that's Chris. Final thought, Kev. What'd you think? I mean, fun live stream today talking about this thing. Good win for the Niners. I tweeted out at the beginning of the game that I thought that the 49ers entire season hinges on today's game.
Yeah.
If they lost this game, that's 4 losses in a row. You know, I know how much they wanted to kind of circle the wagons and bounce back. If they had put everything they had, played Trent Williams, you know, rested up, and they still took a loss, I think that would have been so demoralizing. They would have had a cross-country flight that would have been like a morgue. And I think it would be very difficult to rebound. You know, obviously they weren't going to be mathematically eliminated, and their division is still wide open, even if they had lost that game. But if the Niners want to go, if they want to get to where they want to get to, which is they want to be in the NFC Championship game, they want to be in the Super Bowl. If they want to get there, they had to win today, in my mind. And I know there's lots of people that, you know, when I tweeted that out, there were all kinds of people who were like, you know, that's a tad dramatic. You know, I don't see it, Larry. We can't cover anybody. I mean, nobody for even 2 seconds. That's an overreaction.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, if you say if you just came up to me before the season started and said, hey, in week 10, the Niners are playing the Jags, they're going to be 5-3. What's your take on that? I'd be like, oh, well, they're 5-3. It's not like amazing start, but it's like you wouldn't have guessed that this game was a must-win game because you wouldn't have expected them to be 5-3 coming off 3 straight losses. So that's really what set the table is the 3 straight losses, because how many good teams lose 4 games in a row?
Has anybody ever lost 4 games in a row in this part of the year and gone on to win a Super Bowl? I'm not sure.
I know the New York Giants lost 4 games in a row and went on to the Super Bowl, but
I know the Chargers, the 94 Chargers, I believe, lost 4 in a row early, I think, and might have been 0-4 and turned it around and went to the Super Bowl.
But that's the exception. You can't. That's not the rule. You know, like that doesn't happen. I'd say, like if there was a statistic on teams that went 0 or lost 4 games in a row and their odds to go to the Super Bowl would be like 2 in 2000. You know, it's like that never happens. So it was kind of a must-win game because, you know, you fall to 5-4, you lose 4 games in a row. It's kind of demoralizing. And it was almost as if the entire 49ers team heard every single complaint that was made about them, every single little thing. Oh, Bosa's not getting sacks. Oh, the secondary is not holding up. Oh, the offense is stalling out. And they just proved everyone wrong. They literally stepped up in every way imaginable. Their offense, their defense, their speed, their coverage, their D-line, their passing game, their running game. I mean, everything just got better. So it really was a great game, and the score reflected that. They won 34-3.
Right.
So
big win.
Great game. Great game.
Did Rich Madrid and Richard Sherman ever solve anything?
Oh,
can you give us any juice on that?
I'll just share the post because this is just fucking hilarious.
Richard, you're questioning how much film Richard Sherman watches.
Dude, Richard Sherman kind of like schooled him too.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I gotta see it.
Let me pull it up here. Let me share the screen.
That's awesome. That is just awesome.
So Richard Sherman says, you can read it. You want to read it?
No, go ahead. You can read it.
Okay. So when I make an assessment that Trevor Lawrence hasn't been the generational talent he was billed to be coming out of Clemson, Jags fans were up in arms. The tape doesn't lie. The team has won because the defense has gotten turnovers. At this point, Trevor Lawrence has more turnovers than touchdowns on the season. Despite his team has been winning. He has all the talent in the world. However, that has not been showcased consistently. Rich said, if you watch the tape, you'd see all the drop passes, all the ways the receivers can't find their feet in bounds in the end zone, how many TDs Ridley has dropped. Unserious take. Sherman says, LMAO, I put every turnover on loop for you. He has led the league since he entered. And then Rich goes on to explain how, or he says, our turnovers always on the QB. Some aren't. And Lawrence is like every other quarterback who makes bad throws. But how do you hold any quarterback accountable when one happens on a miscommunication or drop? And then Richard says, excuses. No need to continue this discussion. You're a fan. Enjoy the game.
That's awesome. Just shut him up. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. I do, it's funny when if Purdy had thrown that pick to Ayuk, the ball they threw to Ayuk, if that had been picked, oh my God, people would have been all over Brock Purdy. I mean, think about all the haters out there that would have just been absolutely crushing Brock Purdy.
I mean, yeah, but that was a bad throw. I mean,
it was a bad throw, but I'm just saying that's what I'm talking about. It's like, if you want to say it's a bad throw, it's still a bad throw. But we're such a results oriented deal where, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no,
it doesn't matter that Brock Purdy played fucking great against Minnesota for 3 quarters. And then he threw a couple, bad picks after he was concussed. It doesn't matter that Brock Purdy was the best 49er on the field against Cincinnati for 3 quarters. He threw 2 interceptions late, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah. The NFL is way more emotional in like how it looks and like what have you been doing lately? And it's like I feel like in the NBA, it's almost the opposite. It's almost always like, what's the bottom line stats? So he's averaging 32.8 a game, and he has this many assists per game, and it's always like accumulation. Where the NFL, it's like on a week-to-week basis, all you talk about is, this week it's going to be CJ Stroud, and you're not going to be talking about Burrow. But last week it was all about Burrow, and it's just like everything changes so much because there's only so many games. You only have 17 games, 17 games. So it's like you play good in this game, your stock goes up way higher than if you played 82 games like in the NBA. So that's just it's kind of a dramatic thing. And that's also kind of why the NFL is popular, because it's like 1 week does change everything. It changes the outlook of your game, of your season. If you're the Bengals beating the Niners last week or 2 weeks ago, that was a huge like change in percentage of like what you felt in your team. They went from being a team that was 4-3, and then they beat the Niners and destroy them on the road. All of a sudden they're like in the conversation for like the top 5 teams. So that's probably why the NFL is really popular.
Oh, I know. There's just tons of people. Bazi Mian says, there's the other hater whose name I forgot, M. Patel. Yeah. Where's M. Patel today? As Purdy throws for almost 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and they rout the Jaguars 34-3. Where's M. Patel? Where's all the people who said that the Niners were going to lose to the Jaguars and that the Niners offense was a joke and Kyle was a joke and it's all on Kyle and it's all on Brock and it's all on – where are those guys today? Hey, by the way, I did my first mock draft, and, man, I just want to throw you some throw for the hardcore fans out there, throw you some names that guys that I really, really love that I mocked to the Niners in this latest draft. Terrion Arnold, the corner from Alabama. Got to go watch him. Xavier Legette, a wide receiver from South Carolina. Got to go watch him. Cedric Gray, a linebacker from North Carolina. Got to go watch him. Jerry Rice's kid, Brendan Rice, is legit. So legit. SC lost last night to Oregon, but Brendan Rice was terrific. Jerry's kid is good. A running back from Ole Miss I'm hot on is Ulysses Bentley. There's an edge rusher who his name's Yabi Okianoma, who plays for Charlotte. It's his 5th team. He was a 5-star recruit in high school. He went to Bama, transferred to Michigan. I mean, the guy's been everywhere. He's been at 5 schools. He's been kicked off of three different teams. Played for Tennessee Martin, but he's an edge rusher. You got to see the film on this guy, Yabi Okianoma. And then Sundiata Anderson, the edge rusher from Grambling. Love Sundiata Anderson. Tavondre Sweat, the big defensive tackle from Texas. Leatu Latu from the edge rusher from UCLA. Benjamin Urasek, the tight end from Stanford. So those are the ones that I'm really hot to trot on. There's an Indiana linebacker I really like as well. And I love the kid Latham, the offensive tackle from Alabama. So we'll get into more draft stuff. But I'm getting ready for my mock draft season. I did my first mocks, and man, we're gonna have some fun talking draft in the spring. It's gonna be fun.
I haven't done any scouting, but I do watch college football.
You do. I know you do.
I watch college football, but I can't give you, because all the guys that I think are good, like I'm not like locked into the games because I don't care like that much. But I think the one player that's probably impressed me the most is Keon Coleman. He is impressive. The receiver.
Keon Coleman from Florida State. You talking about? Yeah. Oh yeah. Florida State's got some dudes. They got some serious dudes.
Jordan Travis.
M. Patel is in the chat, and he's now shouting obscenities back at Bozzy Mian. Oh, it's a great day. All right, that's going to do it for us. Kev, what do you got cooking the rest of the night? Are you wagering anything tonight on the NBA? Are you wagering? What's the Sunday Night Football extravaganza? What are we getting tonight?
Oh, it's pretty bad. It's Raiders Jets.
I think I like the Raiders.
I'm going Jets.
What? Did you see the Jets last week?
That's a great time to back them. If that's what you think, that's a great time to back them.
No, you're not going Jets.
I'm going Jets. I follow some people that are really smart and they go Jets, so I'm just taking it.
Really?
I don't have a strong lean.
Yeah.
I don't have a strong lean.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Get me down on Raiders. It's Raiders +2 at home.
You want Raiders?
Wow, the Jets are favored. Oh, maybe I have to stay away.
I have Jets +1 because I was early on the line. I think I got it like last week. So.
Didn't they see the Pierce speech and the Raiders,
this is like the philosophy of the people that I listen to. And it's honestly kind of a winning strategy. It's kind of like you fade the like week after like kind of mojo. Like the Jets are at an all-time low and the Raiders are at an all-time high. So it's like the line value is going to be on the Jets. Does that make sense?
Lions beat the Chargers. Herbert loses again. There he is with his fat stats, 41-38. And I picked them to go to the Super Bowl, the Chargers. That's unbelievable. Yeah, I like the Raiders tonight. I like the Raiders.
Raiders +1.
Yeah. Get me on the Raiders. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks to New York Style Italian Sausage. Thanks to Marin Auto Glass. Thanks to Underdog Fantasy, Mojo Fantasy. Thanks to New York Style Italian Sausage.
If you want a free jersey, go sign up for Mojo. Make a deposit using promo code Krug. I think there's only a handful of entrants, so we're
giving away 2 jerseys on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and I think you have a really good chance of getting a free jersey if you just do that. And you get to use an app. That's pretty fun. And you get your first deposit doubled. So, I mean, come on. What are we doing, people?
Bucko Sports, another guy who's always after me about my affinity for Brock Purdy. Larry accepting he was wrong. Wow.
About what?
Often wrong, seldom in doubt. I'm not even sure. What was I wrong about? I'm not really sure. But I'm the guy who, I'm a married guy. So I'll say, hey, honey, I was wrong. I've learned my lesson. Good stuff for everybody. Thanks to everybody. Thanks for the supers. Really enjoyed the post-game show. We had a lot of fun today. 49ers bounced back in a huge way. That was an enjoyable game. Brock Purdy completed 73% of his passes. The Niner defense, 5 sacks, 10 hits on the quarterback, all kinds of turnovers, and it was fun to watch. Can't wait to watch it again later tonight. 34-3. Join me tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. with Damon Bruce on this channel and his channel, our dual channel 49er Wake Up tomorrow. For Kev, I'm Larry. Kev, have a great night, brother. Love you. And thanks to everybody. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful.